These long dog days of summer, I mean, we just made it through a heat wave. Mama was parched through this heat wave. I was hitting up Dunkin' every single day, and I will continue to probably for the rest of my days, but especially this summer. Dunkin' is helping everyone stay cool this summer with its lineup of refreshers. These drinks are packed with bold, fruity flavors and served ice cold. It's amazing. Dunkin' refreshers are the perfect afternoon pick-me-up. I like to start my morning with them personally, and then sometimes I go back for a second one because I'm just feeling crazy. They come in a variety of delicious flavors, including fan favorites mango pineapple and strawberry dragon fruit. And then for a limited time, there's black cherry and there's pink pineapple. I'm going to tell you something right now, and it's a bold claim, let me tell you, but I stand behind it. Pink pineapple will change your life. It is so good. It has me feeling like I'm sitting in a pool, resort side, just living, honey. It's so yummy. Try your favorite flavor with green tea, sparkling water, lemonade, or Dunkin's all-new limeade. I haven't tried the limeade yet, but I'm going to. Usually I get my drinks made with green tea and occasionally lemonade, but I do really like the green tea. Or if you don't want to build your own, try one of Dunkin's curated refreshers like the Cherry Lime Ricky or the Ultimate Pink Daydream. The Cherry Lime Ricky, scrumptious. I could drink like 3 of these a day. They're so freaking yummy. Head to Dunkin' today and find your favorite refresher. Dunkin' refreshers contain less than 1% fruit juice. Limited time offer. When it comes to online college, Southern New Hampshire University is so good, it's scary. Listen, the facts don't lie. SNHU has degree programs that fit your goals, online classes that fit your life, and real support at every step. And if that wasn't enough, they've got some of the lowest online tuition rates in the U.S. This is an airtight case, you guys. Visit snhu.edu/morbid to get started. That's snhu.edu/morbid. Chilling crime cases are mysterious, but finding coverage shouldn't be. With the State Farm Personal Price Plan, you have options and can personalize your plan to help create an affordable price so you can get back to cracking all of life's bigger cases. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Head to statefarm.com to get a quote. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state. Hey, weirdos, I'm Ash.
And I'm Elena.
And this is Morbid.
It's so morbid here.
It's so morbid because it's the day after the motherfucking Scandival finale.
Yeah, you're going to have to bear with us for like a moment here because...
Maybe a few moments.
The Vanderpump Rules Super Bowl has begun.
Started.
Really.
Yeah, commenced.
The playoffs have begun,
over,
I would
right?
say. Commenced? Yeah.
Let the game...
Let the games begin.
Yeah, I don't
really.
know. Bye.
But we had the finale of Vanderpump Rules last night. I know some of you are like, skip, and that's okay.
It's okay.
But for those of you who partake, those of you who celebrate,
oh my God.
Was that or was that not the most infuriating thing you've ever seen?
Like, we've seen a lot of cheating go down on this show.
Yeah.
We have never seen cheating to this level go down on this show.
When Sandoval walked into Raquel's LED and Galaxy lit apartment,
Mama, grow up.
My soul left my body.
When Sandoval called Raquel Ariana and she still was like, I love you.
Oh my God, I was beside myself. I was beside myself on the couch.
Are you team he absolutely fucking said I love you and then said he didn't say it? Or are you team he said they love you?
He definitely said I love you.
A girl I saw on TikTok literally like slowed it down and he said I love you. Why are you playing mind games with your mistress?
He's a lot.
Like what?
He's a lot. They're both really disgusting. The way he talked to Ariana last night, I was like, Ariana, you You are
Dodged the bullet of a century.
You are thriving, my goddess.
The
because
spell she did with Kristen.
it worked.
It absolutely worked. Look at her flourishing out here in these streets.
When Kristen did that spell with her, we looked at each other and we were like, that shit worked. Because look at her.
That's why we have selenite.
Like, she doesn't even give a shit.
We have selenite up in here too.
And last night, watching Ariana on Watch What Happens Live.
In the revenge dress of the century.
I showed John and I was like, tell me this isn't a goddess that we should like worship at her feet.
Also, how do you cheat on that exquisite looking human snack being?
They always cheat down.
Always. But like, how do you even cheat, period?
And remember, I think I asked my ex-boyfriend straight out, because he was like a big old cheater.
Yeah.
And I asked him one of the times, because I was like, I just really like to get insight on this, because like I've never actually met somebody that does this kind of heinous shit.
I've never met a monster like you. Do tell.
I was like, so can I interview you real quick? I was like, why that girl? Like, what's that about? And he literally said, I was like, why is it always like, this is making me feel uncomfortable? And he was like, yeah, it's just really, he's like, it's easy. It's easier.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, you just gave that just right up. Like, just, I don't want to have to work for the cheating.
No, it's so true. But they fucking worked for this. I mean, they hid it or tried to hide this shit for months and months and months and months.
They'll work to continue it, but they don't want to work to have to get it started. And Sandoval did not work to get this started. I mean,
well, yeah.
Rachel was ready and willing to start this whole thing.
And the fact that he had the motherfucking audacity to blame it on Ariana, like, oh, if she had just followed me, what?
If she had just followed me to Schwartz's house.
Like what about that thing that you build throughout a 9-year relationship called trust?
One of my favorite parts, and don't worry, we'll get to the case, but we just gotta spout this out. One of my favorite parts was that it definitely was Ariana's fault, because she was just never in a place for him to tell her that he was cheating on her for 7 months.
The vibes were never right.
But he literally said she was just never open to hearing it. I'm sorry. When are you open to hearing that your partner of almost 10 years has been having an affair with one of your best friends for 7 months?
When will you ever be in a place of like, you know what? I'd love to hear that. Let's sit down and chat about it.
I'm really open to hearing something catastrophic today. So let's sit down and you can just tell me whatever you want.
And then just like one more small thing and then we'll get on with it. Him, like her trying to talk to him and him just like taking the longest fucking pause to take a sip of that drink.
Because he had to think of what he was saying next, because he just can't.
Are you?
He can't human.
And also, I feel like he had to get like an advertising moment in there.
Oh,
I was like, we're advertising right now?
Well, and he doesn't know how to human. Like, he had to like take a minute and be like, how do I human in this moment? So, you know.
Unreal. If you don't watch, guys,
get on it,
Get on it. Peacock has a whole like playlist basically of the most important episodes that you can watch. So that you know what's up. But
I wish
honestly,
we had like a code for you or something.
I know. But start from season 1. I'll give you all my login.
Just give all of you my login.
I don't think that would work, but
I think they would catch on to that one. But
you know, you never know.
Yeah, you know.
But yeah, so Vanderpump aside, I didn't think I'd ever say that in my
scandal.
life. Oh my goodness. Here's another scandal for you. Cheaters everywhere. The theme of the episode today is cheaters.
Cheaters.
This is part 2 of the Pam Smart, Gregg Smart series. It's not really a series, it's just a 2-parter.
Part 2.
But when we left off in part 1, we got all the yucca details about Pam and Billy's quote unquote relationship. It's hard for me to call it a relationship because she's an adult and he's a child.
Yeah.
So that's hard.
Their crime.
We heard about that. We heard about Pam and her husband Gregg's relationship becoming way more toxic. And finally, how she asked her teenage lover, at this point I believe he's 16-year-old Billy Flynn, to kill her husband.
Ugh.
So if you don't remember from part 1, let me just give you like a quick little recap. The plan was for Billy to go into the house through the basement. Pam was going to leave that basement door unlocked. Billy would wait there for Gregg to get home. He would shoot him and stage the scene to be a robbery. Okay. And remember, Pam would be like, she would get a whole alibi out of this because she would be away at some kind of school board meeting.
Okay.
Like we said in part 1, Billy had no gun, no car, no license, and he also wasn't quite sure how he felt about murdering a human.
Wow.
So the first time Pam asked him, he couldn't go through with it. But like we know, she lost it on him. But at the very end of part 1, we heard that Billy had another quote-unquote opportunity because there was another school board meeting that Pam was going to be away at. So now let's get into exactly how Pam, Billy, and some of Billy's friends actually did carry out their plan to commit murder. So, if you remember from part 1, 2 of Billy's best friends were JR and Patrick, who was known as Pete. And they were the ones who liked to work on junk cars together in JR's front yard.
Yes.
They were the first best friends that Billy made when his family had moved to Seabrook 3 years earlier. And they were both very instrumental in helping Billy get through life when his father died. Their families all knew them as like the Three Musketeers. They did literally everything together. In fact, there wasn't a lot that they wouldn't have done for each other.
Uh-oh.
And that statement was about to be taken to the next level.
Uh-oh.
So the first time Billy brought up the idea, the one about killing a whole-ass man, to his friends, was the first or second week of April.
Okay.
Can't be too sure. But he told his 2 friends that there would be a lot in it for them. Once the worst part was done, which he said obviously was killing Gregg, they could take any valuables that they wanted from the house.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Yeah, silver linings.
Yeah, woohoo. So one afternoon, Ralph Welch, who I mentioned it in part 1, he had been staying with JR.
Okay.
He got kicked out of his house, so he was staying at the La Time house.
Mm-hmm.
He had a cousin over, Ralph did, that ended up eavesdropping on a conversation between Billy, Pete, and JR about the murder.
Oh, damn, they're sloppy.
So rather than contact authorities or tell someone, the cousin, who's Ray Fowler, not
Ray
Boyd
Fowler.
Ray Fowler just decided he wanted in on it. Instead of going to anybody and being like, hey, they're going to kill someone, he was like, oh, yeah, can I get
what
in
can
on
I
this?
get out of this?
What's up?
Wow, everybody.
Yeah. A piece of shit.
How? I always wonder how, we say it every time.
How do these people find each other?
People find each other? It's so wild to me.
It really is. Now, Ray was a few years older than Billy and his friends. Ray was 18. He already had way more than his fair share of run-ins with the police. And the most recent was his 4-month stay at the Rockingham County House of Corrections. He had already served time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No big deal.
He said he was most interested in the burglary, and he would help with the murder if he had to. But he was really just there to burglarize the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that he had a full team assembled, though, Billy was like, okay, I guess we should start looking for a weapon so that we can carry out this murder. Now, a lot of the kids involved thought that finding the gun would be the easiest part of their plan. I don't really know why. They were like, yeah, we should be able to do that.
That's why.
But they were surprised at what a hard time they were having. So that's when they decided that they should find a large hunting knife as a backup plan.
A large hunting knife?
As a backup plan.
Your backup plan is to stab this man hand-to-hand combat with a hunting knife? And you're worried about shooting him? You can tell that these are just...
Kids. Their
this
frontal
is
lobes
wild.
are not developed. No. It's wild. So yeah, they decided to look for a large hunting knife as a backup plan. But, they were still going to look for a gun. Now, while the other boys kept on trying their different connections to find a gun, Billy went to Pam and he was like, hey, we're still having trouble looking for a car to use since, none of us have a license. Jesus. And she was like, oh my God, that's fine. I have a Honda CRX and you guys can use it. I'll park it behind the building on the night of the school board meeting. I'll leave the key in the ignition. Take off as soon as you get there.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
So the plan did come to fruition for the first time in mid-April. Billy packed a duffel bag of dark clothing that he was going to change into, and the 4 boys, Billy, Pete, Ray, and JR, loaded into Pam's car, which was parked behind the building like she said it was going to be, and they started making their way to the condo in Derry. But as they were driving, Billy was getting way more anxious the closer they got. He's starting to freak the fuck out. He didn't want to go through with the murder anymore, and he actually started giving Ray Fowler the wrong directions so that they would get lost.
It's like, my guy, just stop.
You don't want to do this, and everything in the world is telling you not to, including your own conscience, which apparently you have.
Seriously.
So they did end up getting lost, but somehow Ray finally did figure out his way to the condo. But when they got there, Gregg had already gotten home. So already the plan was fucked. And so they felt like they had missed their window, so they headed back to Hampton. Also, I can't help but think of Gregg in that moment, just carrying out his normal night in his own home, having no idea how close he was to the people that were going to murder him.
That's what's crazy to me is he had no idea these kids were driving around just waiting.
And like,
and that
they
this
literally
whole plan was in motion.
Right. Like they got to his condo and they very well would have been inside had he not gotten home before they got there.
That's so sad.
It's so sad. And it's just so scary.
Yeah.
Now, when Billy went to Pam and explained what happened, she was just the same as last time, probably worse. Absolutely furious with him. She was like, if you loved me as much as you said, then you would stop making excuses. You'd follow through.
Ew.
She went with the whole, I don't know if we should be together anymore if you can't do this for me.
Wow, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, a piece of shit. This is the second time now that she's done this. So finally, Billy broke down and he said, next time I won't fail.
Oh my God.
Fail? Like, no, you're failing if you're murdering someone. That's a big old failure.
Like, go down the right path here, Billy.
And that's
walk away.
It's so sad to see how many times he almost did, but she brought him right back into her tangled web.
She knew that he could be manipulated.
And he was. So the next time came a few weeks later on May 1st, when Pam was once again scheduled to be at a school board meeting. So Pete and JR agreed to help a second time, but now they decided that they wanted to be paid.
Wow.
So not only did they want the valuables at the house, they wanted payment. So Billy went to Pam about this, and she was like, okay, I'll give them $1,000 each, but I'm going to pay it out in installments of $50 per week, so it doesn't seem suspicious.
Oh, yeah. You paying these two kids for literally no reason at all is not suspicious.
Yeah, that won't be suspicious at all.
Yeah, it's just the amount. That's all.
That's crazy. Yeah. You're insane. So otherwise, the murder was just to move forward like Pam had planned all along. Now, in the days leading up to the murder, she made sure that they weren't going to fuck it up this time. She drove around the neighborhood with Billy and Cecilia, pointing out where they should park the car so that they wouldn't be noticed sneaking into the condo. And JR agreed to take one of his father's guns to use, but they still planned on bringing the knife with them just in case. And this time, they were taking JR's grandmother's car.
Oh, man.
They drove
grosser and grosser.
They drove a Nana's car to commit murder. So on the morning of May 1st, Gregg went to work. He did some paperwork, returned a couple phone calls, and then he ducked out of the office early. The reason he left early was because he was going to be having dinner with a few clients that evening. But in the meantime, he went to his parents' house. He played with his little niece, chatted with his parents, fixed a flat tire, and then went off to all his appointments. So it was 8:30 at night by the time he finished up with his clients and headed back home to Derry. And by that time, all the arrangements had been made. Pam had left the basement door unlocked, and she told the boys where all the jewelry was, all the valuables, told them exactly where they could find everything.
Damn.
And she said the rest of the details she didn't want to know.
Oh, okay. I don't want to know.
I was like, but you do know because you've planned this entire thing from beginning to end.
Yeah, and I'll let you do it. I'll let you deal with all that.
And live with that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to know the details.
Yeah.
Fuck you. So it was still light out when they all arrived in Derry, so they drove around a little bit before JR parked the car in a shopping plaza near Misty Morning Drive. Billy and Pete sat in the back seat. They were taping their fingers so that they wouldn't leave fingerprints. They taped their fingers.
Jesus.
Then Billy loaded the .38 revolver that JR had taken from his dad's collection. And once the sun went down, Billy and Pete, the two of them, crept around the back side of the condo until they found the door that led to Gregg and Pam's unit, the basement door. Now they made their way inside. Billy had to chase around the dog who was barking and growling. And he was like, get the fuck out of my house.
Oh,
but Billy,
I hate that.
Billy got him into the basement.
And this is like a tiny dog.
It's a Shih Tzu, I think?
I was going to say it's a little guy.
Exactly. So then once the dog was out of the way, they headed upstairs. They ripped apart the couple's bedroom. Pete threw everything of value into a pillowcase that he'd taken from their bed. Wild. Wow. And then they did the same thing on the first floor. They turned over side tables, lamps, just grabbed whatever they thought was valuable. Pete grabbed a knife from the kitchen and cut open multiple pillows on the couch and just like spread the stuffing out across the living room floor, I guess, for dramatic effect. I was like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, like, was that just for fun?
Like, I don't think robbers slice pillows.
No.
I mean, I don't know, but
maybe.
It's weird. So once they felt like they had sufficiently ransacked the house, Billy and Pete sat in the dark just waiting for Gregg to get home. And as they waited, they talked about the best way to subdue him when he finally did walk in the door. Billy thought that it might be a good idea to wait in the closet and jump out when Gregg finally walked in. Or he suggested that maybe they should throw a towel over his head when he arrived to like disorient him.
This man walks into his house and they throw a towel over his head?
They're just sitting there deciding like what they're going to do. Now, finally, they settled on a strategy. Pete would wait behind the door and surprise Gregg when he walked in, and then Billy would turn off all the lights and close the door. Now, a few minutes after they settled on their plan, they watched Gregg's truck pull into the driveway. So in the excitement and anxiety that they were having, Billy and Pete's positions got switched, and Billy ended up behind the door.
Okay.
So Gregg walked in the front door, he flicked on the hall light and called out to the dog. Everything was eerily silent for a few seconds, and then Billy jumped out from behind the door and grabbed Gregg by his shoulders. So obviously he's like stunned, so he yells out and he pulls back hard. But before he could get away, Pete rushes over and he rushes up behind Gregg and pushes him to the floor. Then he turns off the lights and closes the door. Now, when he turned back, Billy had Gregg on the floor in front of the stairs, just beating him in the face while Gregg was just trying to block any of the blows.
This man just walked into his house.
Into his home.
To this chaos.
After a full day of work, after spending time with his family earlier, just being a normal fucking guy.
Getting paid twice a month doesn't mean money is scarce. It just feels that way. That feeling makes you do weird stuff, like putting things on a card you didn't need to. Earnin removes that feeling. With Earnin, you can access up to $150 per day of money you've already earned, plus up to $1,000 between paychecks. Standard transfers take 1 to 2 business days with no mandatory fees, and expedited transfers start at $3.99 and cap at $5.99. 5 million people are already on it, and honestly, it's wild it didn't exist sooner. Download Earnin on the App Store or Google Play, spelled like earning money without the G. Type in Morbid under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Standard cash outs take 1 to 2 business days with no mandatory fees. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Tips are voluntary and don't affect the service. Available in select states. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Every good detective needs a partner to support them on important cases. Think of a State Farm agent like your sidekick, there to help you along the way in your search for coverage. State Farm can help you choose the coverage you need, whether it's for your home, car, boat, or even RV. With so many options, it's nice knowing you have help finding what fits for you so you can get back to solving all of life's bigger cases. Go to statefarm.com or use the award-winning app to connect with a local agent and get a quote. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. So Billy's beating the shit out of him. So Pete rushes over and grabs Gregg by the hair and slams his head into the wall. They like attacked him brutally.
Oh my God.
And Pete screams at him, "Get down on your knees." And he lunged forward slightly with the knife in his hand to make Gregg do what he wanted to say. So Gregg did as he was told, and he said, "Just don't hurt me, dude."
Oh my God.
He repeatedly asked about the dog. Like, where's the dog? Where's the dog?
Oh.
And Pete finally told him nobody had hurt the dog. And then Pete demanded that Gregg take off his wedding ring and give it to them.
Ew.
And Gregg said, "I can't give it to you. My wife would kill me." So he had obviously no idea that his wife had orchestrated this whole thing. And he's thinking about her getting mad at him.
Oh my God.
Up until the very end, which I'm sorry. That tells you exactly who Pam was. That he was like, his whole life is being threatened right now. And he's like, "I can't give you this ring. She'll kill me.
Get mad at me, even if it's me giving it to robbers." Like,
wow.
Damn. That should tell you everything you need to know right there.
So telling. Like the horrific irony in that statement.
Oh, that's awful.
My wife would kill me.
Like, that's really awful.
It's terrible.
And just him saying, like, "Don't hurt me," and him saying, like,
Where's the
dog? Like, worrying about everything else around. Like, that's, like, really gut-wrenching.
That's the perfect word for it. Ugh. So they fumbled around with his wallet. They were procrastinating until there was finally nothing left to do but to kill him. So from the moment they started talking about the plan to kill Gregg, Pete had been confident that he was going to be able to do it without a second thought. Pete was like, I can do it. He was boasting to his friends, telling them that he was actually curious to know what it would be like.
Oh,
and
shut the fuck up.
He was saying he was looking forward to it.
These kind of idiots who like later are, when you hear that they're like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's like,
I can't wait.
Get so wrecked.
Get absolutely
so wrecked, my guy. Like, that is like, dark-sided.
That's given dark-sided,
That's truly
sinister vibe.
dark-sided.
But now he was faced with the reality of actually murdering a human.
Of course.
So things felt a little different than he thought they might.
That's the thing. I'm like, you're disgusting for like play acting. Like, oh yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. It's like, fuck you,
like,
dude.
okay, tough
like,
guy.
Yeah.
You're fucked if you're looking
forward to murder. And now there's a man sitting in front of you on his knees begging for his life. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
You piece of shit.
And he couldn't handle it. Later during the trial, Pete would testify that Gregg's comments about the wedding ring and his his pleas for his life made him in that moment regret what they were doing.
Of course it did. So you should have stopped. Mm-hmm. You should have stopped and you should have said, my guy, your wife sent us to do this and we don't want to do it.
I so wish.
Imagine if they had done that.
I so wish that the story ended that way.
They should have
and she went
done
away
that.
for like attempted murder or conspiracy.
That's the thing. Like this should have been like if these little boys, and that's the worst part about this, these children had the wherewithal or the, any kind of moral compass here to stop and go, I can't do this. I was sent here to kill you and I don't want to do it. Right. And I was sent here by your wife. So you need to get the fuck out of this marriage and we got to go away. Like
we're so sorry
Gregg
that
would
we're
be
even
alive.
Here.
These kids would be, they would have gotten in trouble, but
it
wouldn't be what they're in trouble for now.
And in the end, they would have been the heroes of the story. Because they would have saved his life.
That's the thing. They would have turned around and been the ones that sat there and went, you know what? What the fuck were we thinking agreeing to do this? And they can take their consequences, but it wouldn't have been the consequences they get now. It would have been, we thought about it. We had a heart.
Yep.
Like, and to think now and to hear now that like that kid sat there and regretted it before even doing it, but being like, I don't even want to be here, but he still did it. It's like, my guy, you had a chance and you didn't take it. So whatever the fuck you got after that, you deserve.
Absolutely.
And it's so frustrating.
Absolutely.
Oh, what a frustrating story.
It really is. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
So in the moment when Pete realized that he couldn't do it, he looked to Billy and nodded his head in the direction of the revolver. That was in Billy's jacket pocket. So Billy knew what that meant, obviously. He grabbed the gun from his pocket. He pulled back the hammer and held it right near Gregg's head. The three of them stood there. Pete was still gripping Gregg by the hair. And Billy was holding the gun to the man's head for what he would later say to a jury felt like 100 years.
Oh, and Gregg is just sitting there.
Just sitting there
with
being
a gun to his head, being like, what the fuck is going to happen?
Right, because at that point, he's probably like, are they even going to do this? Or are they just trying to scare me? Like, what's going on here?
Oh.
And then Billy inhaled deeply, and before he pulled the trigger, he said, God forgive me. Baby, God, I don't know him. I don't know much about him, but I don't think he's going to forgive you for that.
If there is a God and you believe in that God does not forgive you, my friend. I can tell you that much. You just stuck a gun to some man's head. Like, because his wife that you are fucking told you to.
That's not a real friend if he's going to forgive you for that.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that just gets written off in the book.
I'm also like, did you just God, are you there? It's me, Margaret, in the middle of a murder? Did you just
God?
That's what you just did.
Me? Like, how dare you?
Fuck you!
How dare you?
Fuck you!
Like, I'm not religious, but how fucking dare you?
No, me either. That's just like disgusting. To bring God into that situation is fucked.
Like, what a mockery that is.
It is, absolutely.
Or it feels like, at least.
I would think so. So with the plan completed, the both of them ran for the back door. Pete grabbed the pillowcase full of the valuables, and then they ran through the back door. They jumped the railing on the back porch and ran. There was a big field behind the condo, so they ran through that until they saw the headlights of JR's grandmother's car.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine if I was his grandma? I'd be like, you have been written out of my will.
Oh, yeah.
And then some.
You've been written out of all the wills.
You've been written out of my life.
You didn't even get your own will.
That's what I would say. Exactly.
I'm revoking your right.
You don't have one.
Nope.
I mean, what do you really have at that point? But the plan was for the other two boys to wait in the parking lot until Billy and Pete returned. But something had changed. I think they got nervous. So they were parked in a different area than they should have been. So both boys were falling over themselves as they were sprinting through the grass until finally they got to the car and they hurled themselves into the back seat and shouted for them to drive. Now, Billy and Pete changed in the back seat as they just drove along the back roads back to Seabrook. They threw a ton of items of clothing out of the window as they drove. But what didn't get thrown out of the window went into the duffel bag, which they would ditch in the woods on the way back.
Okay.
I'm so excited. I'm like,
you're so excited to tell the story.
Yeah. So to cut the tension, JR, this is fucked. This is absolutely wild. They were cutting the tension. JR and Ray started singing Shoe Fly Pie.
Shoe Fly Pie?
It's like this song. I looked it up. It's really fucking weird.
I was like, what even is that?
It's almost like like one of those songs, like a shabop kind of thing.
Like a shabop?
I don't know how to describe it.
I need to look this up now.
It's like old timey, like what you would play at the Gilmore Girls dance along thing.
At the like dance marathon?
Yeah, exactly. So Billy was like, this made him feel better. He was starting to smile. It made my fucking stomach turn. And Ew. Pete actually got wicked pissed off at them for singing and was like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't want you to sing right now.
Damn.
He wanted to get the hell out of Derry and as far away from the condo as he possibly could. So Pam, she got back home to Derry around 10:30 p.m. once everything was done. She, of course, pretended to be shocked and horrified when she found Gregg's body. Neighbors could hear her screams from several houses away, they said. And it was followed by her yelling, help, my husband, my husband.
Wow.
You piece of shit.
An actual monster.
So she ran to the house next door and she said something was wrong with her husband and that they needed to call 911. I'm like, you know that he's dead. You just found him lying in a pool of his own blood at the bottom of your stairs. Now, Derry, New Hampshire, at the time, had a super low crime rate, and homicides were like super out of the ordinary.
Uh-oh.
So I actually, to drive that point home even further, before Gregg's murder, there had been 0 murders in the town that year.
Oh, damn.
0.
Wow.
So when officers arrived and they found Gregg lying face down just beyond the front door, still dressed in his gray suit and coat, they were shocked.
Yeah.
Now, by the time they got there, his skin had been bruised up completely, and there was a bit of blood coming from his nose. One of the officers checked for a pulse, but obviously they weren't able to find one. And another neighbor, who was actually a medical assistant, offered to do CPR, because at this point they're not seeing that he's been, like, shot.
Yeah.
So the officer that hadn't found a pulse rolled Gregg over onto his back, and that was when they saw the bullet hole on the top of his head. And they were like, yeah, CPR is not necessary anymore. So to the responding officers, the scene seemed like what Pam had hoped it would. Like, Gregg came home, found somebody robbing his house, and had been killed by the intruders.
Yeah.
Outside the condo, it was absolute chaos because Pam's screams had drawn all the neighbors outside. Dozens of people were just crowding around the area outside of the house. So Pam asked that somebody call Judy and Bill, who, remember, lived like 5 minutes away in the same complex.
Yep.
And whoever called them just said that Gregg was, quote, very, very sick.
Are you kidding me?
So they rush over there thinking like, oh no, like, does he have a stomach bug? Like,
yeah, like, what's going on?
No, so they threw on their coats over their pajamas and they ran over, but they got stopped by the police at the perimeter of the scene. And Judy was like, what the fuck is going on? And Pam just told her, I don't know. I was at the school. There was a meeting. Like, being super
like
theatrical.
Acting like over the top.
But giving nothing.
Of course.
So luckily she was interrupted, but also not luckily. The front door opened and an officer stepped out of the house. And it was then that Gregg's parents saw his body lying on the floor.
Oh my God.
And the officer came out and told them, we can't help him. He's already dead.
Ugh.
So the case called for the presence of the Derry police captain, who at the time was Captain Loring Jackson. Now, he arrived to the scene after it had already been cleared completely. He was a veteran detective, luckily. Like, thank goodness we have somebody who knows what they're doing here.
Seriously.
He had 24 years on the job between Massachusetts and New Hampshire, and he had seen every kind of crime you could possibly see.
Yeah.
Now, the other officers on the scene obviously weren't as seasoned, so he started taking over and just divvying out tasks.
Yeah.
He wanted to be sure that everything was properly documented and that all the evidence was collected and cataloged correctly. That was like a big thing for him.
Okay.
Which it always should be.
Yeah.
Now, some officers went out to check the fields beyond the complex, and just about 100 yards from the Smarts' back deck area, Sergeant Vincent Byron found a large carving knife stuck into the ground.
Oh, shit.
They had left the knife
behind.
behind.
Left that?
They left the knife behind.
Why? Like, I'm glad they did, but like, Jesus.
I think they must have dropped it on the way, is all I can think of.
Wow.
But then actually, no, because it was stuck in the ground.
That's what I mean. Like, why would they shove it into the ground and run? Like,
I don't know if they just had too much between the valuables that they had stolen.
It's
and
like drop a valuable, my friend.
Right, you would
like,
think
not
so.
the actual, like, other murder weapon.
Seriously. And then, so they found the knife in the ground out there, but then a few feet away from that, that sergeant there found pieces of cardboard and plastic from Pam's jewelry box.
Damn.
So he's like, what the fuck is like happened here?
Yeah.
So by 2:30 that morning, the Derry police got joined by the New Hampshire State Police Major Crimes Unit, who went over the house a second time. Like, it had already been totally cleared, and then they were like, we're going to clear it even further.
Yeah.
Took more photos, got more evidence, and took notes on literally everything. Then another group of officers started going around to the neighbors, who were like really overall very unhelpful. They hadn't seen much.
Yeah.
Or heard much, but it's like whatever. So according to almost everybody they talked to, Gregg was, quote, a very private individual, someone they never really got to know during the 18 months he and his wife had lived in Derry.
See, that's why it's important to know your neighbors, my
I know.
friends.
My neighbors never talked to me.
My neighbors and I had a barbecue the other night, last night, and it was wonderful.
I love
It was
that.
delightful.
Yeah, they'll be on the lookout for like any weird shit.
That's the thing, like, know your neighbors, because like it's a good thing to get to be friends with your neighbors, because then they're on that shit.
See, like,
It takes a village, my friends,
It
and if
does.
everyone's looking out for each other, no shit gets past you.
I was just thinking about it, and my neighbors don't really talk to me, but they talk to Drew. What do you think that means?
I don't know what that means. That's weird.
I'm offended.
I just think, I'm like, you know what? If you have a chance to have like a tight-knit little neighborhood, if you happen to be in there, do it, man.
Yeah.
Because everybody's on that text chain and everybody's like, what the fuck was that car? Did you hear that noise? Like, everyone's on it. I love it.
There's like an app now too that you
think
can
there is.
get
It's
in, like keep in touch with your neighbors, and like, or even like people like beyond your neighbors but are like in close proximity.
Me and my neighbors just have a text chain.
I think it's called like Next Door or something.
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
you're right.
Drew has it. Maybe that's why they talk to him.
Yeah, I think we just have a text chain, and as soon as like I think like somebody on an outside street got their car broken into,
oh shit,
everyone fucking knew that by the morning, everyone was checking each other's cars if you weren't at your house. Like,
oh my god, I love it.
It was great.
That's ideal.
I was like, neighbors.
Neighbors. Well, and this was also a time, which is crazy to think about, before cameras.
Yeah, exactly.
Before people had doorbell cameras.
So it's even more important back then. Like, that's why it is very helpful if your neighbors can be like, yeah, we know that person.
Exactly.
Like, you know?
But
and can be
unfortunately,
out on the lookout for like something weird is happening over there, I might step in.
Exactly.
Like, that's the thing. If you don't know your neighbors, they're not going to feel comfortable doing that.
Exactly. Which it sucks that this was a
Yeah,
case
it
where
does.
they didn't know each other
They just
very well.
didn't communicate.
And not for any reason. It doesn't sound
No, it
like
just seems like it didn't happen, which 100% it doesn't happen a lot of times. So
And
if
I
you can
also-
make it happen, try to.
I think this was kind of more of a time where like you minded your own business.
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Pam, she was just as unhelpful to the investigators, but obviously more pointedly. She explained that she got home, she found Gregg on the floor, and she said, quote, having watched television shows like Rescue 911, she decided against touching the body and instead just started screaming for help.
Okay.
It's like, okay, like what? Why did you have to
Cool.
mention that? Sorry, there's
Yeah.
a fruit fly in my
I
face.
do remember what a chokehold that show had on all of us, though.
Rescue 911. I don't think I ever watched that.
No, I think it was before your time.
Yeah.
It was Rescue 911 and Unsolved Mysteries were like back to back.
Unsolved Mysteries.
And Rescue 911 was intense.
Really?
Yeah, it was very intense.
I
They
used
like
to-
reenacted 911 calls, but you heard the 911 call.
Not for
It was
me.
like everyone's first venture into true crime, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was Unsolved Mysteries and Forensic Files.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good one.
A good one.
Now, so obviously we all say all the time how, you know, people are going to react differently to trauma and grief.
Yeah.
But there was something off about Pam's behavior in the minds of the detectives. I think they kind of tried to put it in the back of their minds the more and more they got through the investigation.
That's
but
the
it was
thing.
still there.
Yeah, you observe, you look at it and say, okay, everyone grieves differently. But when compiled upon other evidence, you go, okay, that is a little strange.
Right. Like
Yeah. You just hold it in the back of your head and just put it together with the other evidence.
And then you find like the supporting things that tie it together.
Yeah.
So she was super calm and super composed, which was not really what anybody expected from a woman who had just found her husband murdered in their home a few hours earlier.
Yeah.
But you know,
Okay.
Everybody's different, I suppose.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks.
In this case, not so much.
Not so much. To Detective Barry Cherwicks, I believe is how you say it, Pam seemed more anxious than sad or
Weird.
upset. She was nervous, and he noticed that her eyes would dart around the room at different times throughout the interview, which is so telling because who else's eyes do that? Scandavals.
That's true.
But anyway, he tried to remind himself that, people act differently in these situations. I'll dismiss it right now as just another strange reaction to death, but it's in my head.
But I will note it.
So the next day, the state medical examiner confirmed that, of course, the cause of death was the single gunshot wound to the head, and the medical examiner estimated that it had occurred just an hour or two before Pam arrived home, which was correct. Now, the wound itself was ragged, which suggested to the medical examiner that Gregg had been shot at close range with somebody holding the gun very close to his head, which was also true. Mm-hmm. But what was strange was that there was no gunpowder residue on the wound, and there were small pieces of lead on the scalp, which indicated that the bullet started to fragment before it struck Gregg.
Huh.
And, even stranger, there was no blood spatter at the scene like you would expect with this kind of crime. So the medical examiner was trying to figure this out, like how that could have happened. And he felt like somebody had placed a pillow.
Oh my God, I was literally just going to say.
Yeah.
They placed the pillow on his head.
Exactly. So that's what they thought. Like they took a pillow or some kind of soft thing in between Gregg's head and the barrel of the gun, almost like a silencer or a quieter.
It muffles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they couldn't find anything at the scene to support that theory. There was no pillow with a hole through it.
Huh.
So, and sadly, that question would never be answered.
Huh.
So I don't know if maybe they took the pillow with them and it was one of the things they threw out
maybe
on the way, but they never answered that question.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is, yeah.
That's really interesting.
But I would think that's probably the
I'm
answer.
sure that's it. Yeah.
Like, I think they were conniving enough to silence that gun.
I think they saw it in a movie.
Probably.
I think they saw it in a movie.
Or Pam saw it on Rescue 911
exactly.
and reiterated it.
And they did it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, so obviously the cause of death was not that surprising to anybody. Everybody knew that Gregg had been shot. But what they wanted to know, obviously, was who killed Gregg and why. So while authorities were combing through evidence, Pam was super happy to entertain reporters.
Oh, I'm sure.
And she had so many theories as to what happened. She told the Derry News, "I'm absolutely convinced someone was burglarizing our house and Gregg just walked in." Like, gee whiz, Pam, what made you think that?
Yeah.
Was it the robbery scene that you saw?
Was it the entire robbery scene that you set up?
Was it the missing valuables from your home that you orchestrated?
The ransacked house?
Like, yeah. She also told reporters that in the days since she had found her husband dead, she'd woken up at 6 a.m. every day and called the police for updates, but said that they, quote, she said that, quote, they haven't even sat down with everything yet. Which is not true.
And also it's like, oh, now we're going to shit all over the police, even though you set this whole thing up.
Right?
Like, wow. Like, these police who haven't handled a murder.
Yeah.
This week, this
year.
This month, this year.
Anywhere.
Anytime. Like, that never handle murders.
Right.
And, like, you did it, and you're still being like, it's their fault. Like trying to play the victim.
Oh, and it wasn't
bitch.
It wasn't only their fault. She was also pissed at the neighbors.
Oh, of course.
She said she found it hard to believe that none of her neighbors heard anything on the night of the murder.
Wow.
I'm like, you orchestrated this whole thing.
You are throwing everyone under the bus when you're a fucking murderer at heart? Like, are you kidding me?
Like, okay, gaslighter McGee.
Wow.
She literally told reporters, quote, "I've heard their stereo before, and I know they've heard mine. I know a gunshot isn't a common sound in Derry, New Hampshire, but I'd at least look out the window."
Wow.
It's like, yeah, they didn't hear a gunshot because you probably told your boy there to fucking silence it.
And it's like, you are a murderer at heart. Like,
and you're
you just
shitting
don't
on
have
everyone.
You just didn't want to get in trouble for it, and you thought you could get away with it by having someone else do it.
Yup.
But if you're setting someone else up to get murdered by someone else, you are a murderer.
Absolutely.
Like, you are capable of that.
Absolutely.
And you're sitting here saying that the neighbors are at fault when you know what you did?
The neighbors didn't hear anything, so fuck them. And the police aren't working on this yet, so fuck them.
Damn.
Like, what?
Yeah, it's everybody else's fault.
She's crazy. So, Police Captain Loring was not pleased, to say the least, that Pam was talking to the press.
Yeah.
Because he had personally told her not to.
Jesus.
He was like, "Can you stop doing that, please?"
You think she would listen to them, too, to try to play along with the whole thing?
to be
like,
cooperative.
seem like a very cooperative instead of making waves?
I don't
so that they
think-
look at you a little heavier?
I don't think she was capable of cooperating. I think in her mind, it was her world, and she was orchestrating it how she saw fit.
Yeah, and the spotlight was on her. And she couldn't help herself.
Yep, she absolutely loved
She had
the
to
attention.
lean in.
So the investigators in Derry had been working on the case, obviously, even though Pam said they weren't. And they told her sharing any kind of info with the press could be really damaging or could even compromise their case.
Yeah.
So they're like, why the fuck are you trying to ruin our case, lady? And Loring Jackson would later say that Pam was very defensive about talking to the press. She said she didn't want to hear anything bad about the press because she was one of them.
Oh,
Because remember,
shut the fuck
she
up.
wanted to work in the media, and she did work in media.
Shut up.
Also, you're not a reporter.
No.
You're a volunteer for Project Self-Esteem.
Yeah, stop.
Humble thyself.
Humble thyself.
Fuck you, Pam.
Oy.
But Jackson found her comment about being one of the press very strange. It really wasn't the only thing about her that he was going to find strange as the investigation went on. And he was like, her behavior, it's fucking weird. For instance, when she was allowed to go back to the house after the scene had been cleared, she started complaining about what a mess the investigators had made in her home. She also stepped right onto the bloodstain from where Gregg's body had been found and had the audacity to ask them who was going to clean that up.
Wow.
Stepped on the bloodstain and said, who's going to clean this up? What?
You caused it.
You made this.
Like, you caused that.
And then you're mad that we trashed your house trying to figure out who did this?
Like, what the
What?
fuck? Because the reason, like, this is all doubly, triply, quadruply fucked up because you're like, you know that she did this.
Yeah.
Like, she's causing all these problems and bitching and moaning when she did this.
She made this all happen.
Like, wow.
And like, I don't know what it is. Like, you're going to ask who's going to clean this up. You orchestrated this and you can't even fucking clean it up.
That's the thing.
You
'Cause it's
wanted
like,
this, baby. Clean it up.
If this was a real thing where like
her husband
somebody
had
had
killed.
come in and robbed their house and killed her husband, yeah.
Who's going to clean
Ask
that up?
who's going to clean that up.
Totally.
Because like I never knew before like really
didn't
getting
either.
into researching true crime and all that and learning about like Aftermath Inc. and all that stuff and like 24, whatever, that like victims are left
Yeah.
to call someone to hire a whole team to come and clean up after their loved ones.
Like,
And
you
it's
have to pay for that.
Like you have to pay for it. Like a lot of people don't know that. And it's like,
I never knew that until we started this podcast.
and I'm sure a lot of people, when it happens to them, they don't know that.
No.
So they come back to the house and they're like, who the fuck is going to clean this? Like, I can't clean this. So if that was the case, it's like, yeah, be like, I don't know what's happening
Absolutely.
here. But that's the thing. Knowing that she did it, it's like, you need to clean this up.
You clean
Wench.
it up.
Like,
Wench.
Jesus.
Get to work.
Oh.
This part of the show is brought to you by Anua, the Korean skincare brand known for scientific, gentle, yet effective formulations. The latest from Anua is the Retinol Collagen Gua Sha Cream, a firming cream with a gua sha-shaped tip built right in. Have you guys heard of gua sha? It's that viral massage tool that moves fluid and tension out of your face. Less puffiness, a snatched jawline, honey, more definition in your face. Retinol firms and reduces fine lines, and collagen keeps your skin plump and structured. This cream has both of those things, arguably the most optimal combo for that snatched, lifted look all in one step. I am obsessed with the Gua Sha cream. First of all, it feels so cool to the touch when you put that on your face. It's just like, this is lovely. It's like a little spa treatment that you can give yourself. I like to do mine at night after I get out of the shower. I rub the cream on my face with the little gua sha. I'm sculpting that jawline, honey. I got it on the cheekbones. And actually, I had a facial the other day, and the lady doing my facial, the professional, she said, "Do you use a gua sha at home?" And I said, "I do." And I said, "How did you know that?" And she said, "I didn't have those little like bumps in my chin or like different areas like that." So she could tell that I was using the gua sha. And I said, "Oh my God."
I just feel like I wake up less puffy in the morning when I do it the night before. But you can do it whenever you want to. I, 10 out of 10, recommend this product. The Anua Gua Sha Cream Value Set is available at anua.com, already discounted. Use code MORBID for an extra 10% off. That's ANUA.com, code MORBID. The Sherwin-Williams summer sale is here. Get 30% off select paints and stains or 35% off their newest product, Emerald Symmetry, July 17th through the 27th. Whether you're looking to refresh your interior or your exterior, they've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders. So what was shitty was that the crime scene itself was kind of just as unhelpful as the neighbors and Pam. Like, they were hitting a lot of dead ends here. Obviously, it was obvious that somebody had ransacked the house, but it didn't seem like your regular robbery. So they're confused here because they're like, yeah, it seems like this happened, but it's off a little bit.
Yeah, it's like disorganized.
Actually, it's strangely organized, they thought. They were like, what? Like, it seems like there's differences in the ways that some areas were trashed. Like, some were more organized than others. And so the investigators theorized that there were 2 intruders.
I was going to say, because I would think that would be like multiple people.
Right off the bat, exactly. There were also some more strange tidbits on the first floor of the home. Gregg's ring and his car keys were found underneath his body, and his wallet, which still had all his credit cards was tucked safely away. It was found by his legs. So they're like, they didn't steal his car, they didn't take his ring, and his wallet full of his credit cards is right here.
And why did they have him take off the ring?
I don't know.
Like, because my initial thought with that, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, was that was an order from Pam as proof that they had done it.
I could see that.
Was they were supposed to bring that ring back. That's what I assumed was the like whole thing. I thought she was like, bring me that ring, so I know you actually did it.
Well, she would have known they actually did it when she got home, so that she wouldn't have had to do that.
Oh, I forgot that they didn't meet before that. Like, they didn't meet before she went home.
No, she just got the car. They got the car where she had parked it, and then the whole thing was that she was going to come home and find this.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So what I think with the ring is that I think Billy probably was like, take it off, or Pete said take it off, because like, you know, he's fucking Pam now.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I think maybe in the haste of everything, they forgot to take the ring.
Yeah, because it's like, why did you do that?
Because I think they had fully planned on taking that ring. I think they just were stupid.
Because like, that's like, what a last humiliation for Gregg.
Right.
To make him remove that ring and then to leave it. It's like, wow, so you just did that just to do that? Like, that's even more fucked up.
It's adding insult to injury.
Yeah, like, it's just like, that's really gross.
Mm-hmm. Ugh, it's fucked. But so that's the thing. Investigators are like, okay, so there's clearly 2 intruders, but like they both suck? Like, that's weird.
Like, what the hell?
Very strange. And they started thinking, if somebody was going into a home to take everything of value, so much so that they were willing to commit a murder in the middle of it, why wouldn't they take the most valuable things?
Yeah.
That's weird.
No.
Like, even the car.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
So the investigators, they still felt like the theory of a robbery gone wrong wasn't a bad one, but it had other flaws even beyond the valuables left behind.
Yeah, it's like more nuanced.
It was going to start kind of like falling by the wayside, their whole theory. Again, why would these robbers, even if they weren't the most experienced, choose a time to rob a densely populated condo when everyone was home and awake?
Yeah.
That was another thing that they were like, why would they do that? And they also reasoned that most burglars, even petty thieves, they don't usually bring along a firearm, and they're usually not willing to kill someone.
Yeah, they just want to steal shit and leave.
Mm-hmm. And if for some reason they did go against all of that and kill someone, again, why wouldn't they take the most valuable things when they had already gone that far?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You better take all the valuable shit now.
Right. So between Pam's strange behavior, obvious enjoyment of the spotlight, and the very many unusual aspects of their crime scene, something about this murder wasn't adding up to them. But they were struggling because it wasn't adding up, but then it wasn't leading them in the direction of the truth.
Yeah.
Now, back to Pam. As far as she knew, she had planned every aspect of Gregg's murder perfectly, and she almost did, which is scary.
Yeah.
But what she didn't plan for was the impulsive stupidity of teenagers.
Oh, yes.
Because in the months before the murder, Billy had told a good number of his friends about his sexual relationship with Pam. And most of the time, they weren't even doing much to hide their affair in public. Jeez. And in the weeks they had spent planning the murder, Billy had told those same friends the plot to kill Pam's husband so that they could be together. And he told most of those friends that what he believed to be true based on what Pam had told him. Gregg was abusive toward her. He was going to be the hero that saved her. So he's just spilling the beans left, right, everywhere.
Of course he is. He's a child.
Yeah. And as we know, some of the people who he told about the plan had become participants.
Yeah.
And the ones who didn't, they just kind of thought he was bluffing and trying to seem tough.
Oh my God.
Which, like, we've been there, we've done that.
Yeah,
so you know how we
stop.
feel. But the day after the murder, Billy and his friends were back in school.
My God, they just go back to high school.
They just went back to high school. I'm pretty sure it was like their junior year.
Oh my God.
So, and before his first class even started, Billy was telling his friend Sal Parks about what he'd done immediately. Now, Billy and Sal had talked about the murder plot a number of times before that day. Billy had even shown Sal sketches of the condo's floor plan that he made based on Pam's description.
Wow.
But for some reason, Sal never thought Billy was going to go through with it. Guys, you know. I can't. But that morning, when Sal asked Billy if he had gone through with the plan, Billy nervously confirmed that, yup, they had killed him the night before.
Oh my God.
Now, later that day, Billy bought Sal lunch with the money that he'd stolen from Gregg's wallet, just to prove it to him.
Fuck up.
And by the end of that afternoon, he had told pretty much almost all of his friends the gnarly details about what had happened. Now, Sal was worried now that he knew all the details, he could be considered an accomplice. So he was like, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut about this entire thing. Like, I'm not going to say anything.
I'm still like reeling about him buying lunch with Gregg's money.
Yeah,
this is just wild.
Now, just like Billy, Cecilia Pierce, she knew this whole thing had happened at this point, and she had been an instrumental part of being a part of it, planning it. So she found it difficult to keep what she knew to herself. And on the morning of the murder, Pam had confided in Cecilia that the boys were going to follow through with the plan that night. So the next day, a guidance counselor came up to Cecilia because she knew that Cecilia had been close with Pam. She called her into a meeting and let her know what had happened to Pam's husband.
Oh my God.
So Cecilia did her best to fake shock. But later that night, when she got to her shift at Papagino's, the secret was becoming too overwhelming for her. And she ended up confiding in a coworker about it. She told her coworker, Cindy Butt, what had happened to Gregg. And Cindy said, "Didn't you tell me about a friend that was planning on having their husband killed?"
Oh my God.
And Cecilia said, "Oh shit, I'd forgotten I had told you that." Couldn't even keep track of the people they had told.
What? I forgot that shit.
Oh my gosh, I told you that?
I forgot that I told you that.
Oh my God. Also, imagine eating a fucking pizza that those two women had made for you, and that conversation happened above your glorious pizza.
I would not be happy.
Although Papagino's is not my fave.
Oh, I hate Papagino.
Ugh, it's the big tomatoes for me.
I mean, you can eat it all you want. I'm no hate to Papagino.
I mean, a lot of people love Papagino's.
But,
yeah. Anyways, so Cecilia explained the rest of the story to Cindy, and Cindy suggested it would be best to stay out of it entirely. She was like, I don't think you need to tell more people about this. I think you need to shut your mouth.
Yeah.
She basically said that if Cecilia had told her about it, then other people could definitely find that out, and one of them might go to the police, so she should shut her fucking mouth.
My God.
But at the same time, Cindy there apparently didn't take her own advice. And a couple weeks later, she had some friends over her apartment for drinks, and she told all of them the entire story about Pam, Billy, and Cecilia. So there were two women there, finally some people with sense in this fucking town, and they were absolutely shocked. Wow. So one of them, 39-year-old Louise Coleman, went home and called the police. Finally.
Oh, finally.
Finally, somebody has contacted the appropriate people in this situation.
Finally, someone calls the police and says, shit's weird.
Jesus Christ. She would later tell a jury, Louise there, quote, "Someone was killed and that bothered me. To hear what I had heard, I figured any little bit was going to help him, because at that point, police didn't know much of anything. Like I told him, it's hearsay. If it helps, it helps. If it don't, it don't. But I feel like I did my civic duty." Which I'm like, yes, Louise, you did.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Pat, Louise.
See you later.
Good job.
Now, like the bad game of telephone it was, though, Louise Coleman's tip to the Derry police got a lot of the facts wrong. But luckily, it was still enough to point investigators towards Cecilia Pierce. So, Detective Cherwick, paid a visit to Cecilia, and joined by her parents, they sat down for a formal interview. And Cecilia told the detective that, yup, she did know Pam. She met her through an internship in the media center. But she said, I know nothing about the murder. I insist I know absolutely nothing. So then Pam is approached, and she told detectives, oh my gosh, Cecilia would not have anything to do with this.
Of course not.
And it's like, yeah, but what about you?
Yeah.
But for her part, she seemed, Pam there, pretty unconcerned about the fact that investigators were circling closer and closer to her and her group of fucking teenage misfits that she put together.
Yeah, it's like no one noticed this shit.
No one noticed it.
Yeah.
And now, even as they're encroaching upon them, she's not worried about it.
No.
So by mid-May, she had gotten a large sum from Gregg's life insurance, and she seemed in a hurry to spend it. She bought clothes and shoes for Cecilia in an obvious to all of us attempt to buy her silence.
Yep.
Then she went electronic shopping with Billy and his friends.
My God.
She also used some of the money to buy herself a new car. She put down the first and last month's rent on a condo in Hampton, closer to Billy. Excuse me,
This is so
closer to Billy's
disgusting.
mother's house.
I was just going to say, this is so disgusting.
fucked. So she was doing her best to rein in this group of teens, and for the most part, she was successful. Cecilia would later say she just really was convinced that no one was going to listen to the boys over an adult. Like, she thought she was going to have everybody hook, line, and sinker.
Of course.
But what wasn't in her control was the people that the kids had already confessed to, and Louise Coleman's tip had pointed the investigators in the right direction. But it would be a tip from one of the few honest teams in the circle that would finally break the case.
Ooh.
So remember, Ralph Welch, Ray's cousin. So Ray was the one that drove the car.
Yep.
And Ralph had nothing to do with it. He was just staying at JR's house.
Yes.
He had heard about this.
Yep.
So he had known about Pam and Billy's relationship since it started, Ralph there.
Okay.
He was, like I just said, one of the kids living in the household. And since he was a close friend of JR and Billy, he was privy to all the information about what had been going on. But he was just trying to keep his head down and stay out of any trouble. He had gotten into trouble before, and he was like trying to stay on a narrow path.
Okay.
So he heard about the murder and about his friend's involvement, but he was still having trouble believing that they had anything to do with it. He was like, you guys are fucked. Like, you didn't do this. But by early June, all the talk and boasting from JR, Billy, and Ray had started to get to him. And all the rumors about Billy killing Gregg started to seem more likely than they had to him before. So he confronted them. He said, did you do this? And at first, they denied any involvement. But eventually, they told him the whole story, thinking he wasn't going to tell anybody. So by the time they finished telling the story, though, he pretty much told them he didn't know what he was going to do, but it wasn't something he was going to keep to himself.
Ooh.
He was like, you guys fucked up here.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have told me
I'm going to be
this.
honest. Like, shit's going to go down.
He's like, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something.
I'm going to do something, though.
So the next day, Ralph tried to make Pete Randall leave the Lattime house where he was staying.
Okay.
So, like, two guys here getting in a fight.
Yeah.
So they started fighting even more, and it got physical.
Okay.
They beat the shit out of each other for a few minutes. Pete ended up storming off with JR and Ralph, with JR. And Ralph went inside the house, where JR's mom wanted to know why he was all fucked up. Like, he obviously looked like he'd been in a fight.
Yeah.
And Ralph just blurted out to her, they used Vance's gun to kill someone. Vance is JR's dad.
Oh.
So Diane, the mother, obviously, she had a few follow-up questions. And once Ralph had gotten through the whole story, including the part where JR stole one of his gun's dads to kill Gregg, Vance Jr.'s father, so JR's father, Vance, JR's father,
Okay.
went to check his gun collection. There's a lot of players here.
Okay.
So sure enough, he found that his .38 revolver had been cleaned, and he was not the one to have cleaned it. So he took the gun straight to the Seabrook police, and the rest of the story slowly started to fall into place. Now remember, his son stole this gun. And this dad, I have to say, like, he did, like, that's really heroic. And, like, what a fucking Sophie's choice to make there.
Absolutely.
Like, oh my God, my kid might be involved in killing somebody, but I have to take this information to the police.
Yeah, it's like you can't just ignore it and hope it goes away.
He's one of the heroes in this story.
Some people would have, to be honest.
I mean, we've seen instances where that's happened.
Absolutely, we have.
So as soon as she heard the police were looking for her son, Ray Fowler's mother dragged him to the police department, another hero here.
There you go.
And once he was there, he wasted no time telling the detectives the entire story. He didn't spare any details, but of course, he passed all the blame on his friends. And he said he had only gone along for the ride. He had no idea they were going to kill someone. He knew everything. Survey says lie.
Yeah, ding, 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 no.
So when they learned that Ralph fully intended to go to the police, the other boys fled to Connecticut in Pete's father's car. They planned to continue driving south, possibly to Mexico or to South America. But Pete called home to let his mom know they were safe. And his dad got on the phone and he didn't know about the murder yet. But he was like, why the fuck did you steal my car? And you better turn it right the fuck around right now.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Pete's dad was not the kind of guy you wanted to go against. So they all turned around and headed back to Seabrook because daddy said, bring my car back home.
Oh my God.
Like, that's where we're at, you guys.
That's the age group we're at.
The lack of frontal lobe development is really highlighted here. They thought, oh yeah, I'll just steal my dad's car and drive it to Mexico and he won't notice. I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, what? So once they got back home, each of the boys struggled to tell their parents what had happened. They were obviously leaving out all kinds of important details. They were using pseudonyms here and there, and they were peppering the story with lies to minimize their own involvement. Now, Vance listened to his son's version of the events, and even though he still didn't understand what had actually happened or how JR had even gotten himself involved in this, he went back to the Seabrook Police Department to let the detectives know that it seemed like all of the boys were involved in this murder in one way or the other, including his own son.
That's a hard hit.
So, on the morning of June 11th, 1990, a clerk from the Derry Police Department arrived in Seabrook carrying warrants for the arrests of Billy, Pete, Ray, and JR. They knew that their arrests were on the horizon, so they all scattered, and they spent most of the day just trying to avoid the police.
Oh, man.
Now, meanwhile, Derry Police Captain Jackson wanted to have another talk with Cecilia Pierce. I think he saw that she was a bit of a weak point.
Oh, yeah. 100% he saw that as a weak point.
So he called Cecilia's mother, and Cecilia's mother said she was out for the day, but she was going to try to track her down. She's like, oh, fuck, what are we involved in here?
Yeah.
So Mrs. Eaton, that's Cecilia's mother, she figured her daughter would actually be at Pam's house because that's how much time they were spending together.
That's so weird, man.
I don't know if Cecilia's mom didn't realize that Pam was like an authority figure and maybe just thought she was like an older friend because she's not that much older than Cecilia.
That's true. That's very true. I think
she just didn't have all the facts.
Yeah, no, I'm like, no hate to like her parents for not even thinking about it.
It's just wild.
But when you think about it afterwards, you're like, oh God, like
fuck.
This is the relationship was like too much.
Mm-hmm. So Pam picks up the phone and she was like, oh, Cecilia actually just left, but let me go collect her and I'll bring her to the police. But at that point, Mrs. Eaton had it up to here officially.
Officially.
She was like, I am real fucking tired of this strange hold that you seem to have over my daughter. Stay out of it, and I will track down my own daughter. So later, she found Cecilia at a friend's house, and Miss Eaton called Pam and was like, just so you know, we're going to the police station. Now, Pam yelled at Mrs. Eaton on the phone and said, don't take her over until I get there. Let me go with you and we can all go together. I am a victim here. I have a right to know everything that the police know and they're not telling me anything. I'm getting tired of being treated this way and I want to know what's going on.
Oh, man.
Mama, you're a murderer.
Oh, man.
Like, girly girl.
She is reckless.
Also, who the fuck do you think you are yelling at Mrs. Eaton?
Oy.
So obviously she's trying to stay on top of things and she wants to make sure Cecilia's not going to turn on her. But Pam was telling the truth a little bit there. The Derry police had actually stopped giving her any information about this case.
Of course they did.
Because she kept going to the press every time they gave her an update. So they were like, okay, if you want to paint us this way, we'll act this way.
Oy.
So in that moment, Mrs. Eaton didn't care about Pam Smart or her relationship with the Derry police. She was like, if you want to meet us at the station, meet us at the station, but we're going there now.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know. I don't have time for this. So They get to the station. Cecilia continues to insist to the police that she knows nothing about the murders. She tried to even seem like she was disinterested in being there. Now, Captain Jackson realized that Cecilia wasn't really grasping the severity of the situation she was involved in.
Oh, yeah.
So he was like, you know what? Let me fucking scare her. So he starts making threats of charging her with interfering with the investigation. He's like, you want to play that game?
Let's go.
But at that point, Cecilia's mom didn't know that's where this was headed, so she put a stop to the interview. She was like, no, we're done here.
Yeah.
Now, in a private conversation with Cecilia's mother, Jackson explained that he was simply playing bad cop. He was just trying to get Cecilia to say what she knew.
Yeah, of course.
And he was like, we know that she doesn't have anything to do with the murders, or we don't think she does. Or the murder, excuse me. So Cecilia's mom was like, yep, I get it. I still feel like she's gone through enough tonight and we're not really going to get anywhere here. So I will talk to her at home and try to get out the truth, and I'll get back to you. So they were like, okay.
Yeah.
And I think they knew like they weren't going to get very far at that point. But on their way out of the station, Pam had been sitting there the whole time waiting for them at the station. And she went right up to them and was like, what's going on? I need to know everything.
My God, she is like, she doesn't give a shit.
She's like a fly attracted
so
to a big
wild
pile of
to
shit.
me.
She can't stay away.
Oy.
So Cecilia was like, nope, nothing's going on. They asked me the same questions that they did before. But she said, like, don't worry about it, basically.
Yeah.
So that night, Diane, JR's mother, she was like hunting them down because she knows that the police are looking for these kids. So she finds them hiding out in an arcade in Salisbury, Massachusetts.
My God.
And she was able to convince them to turn themselves in. But these motherfuckers were hiding out at an arcade.
Of course they were.
But it just like
Of course
adds to
they
the
were.
story even more that you're like, oh my God, these are literal children.
Of course.
And they thought they could just avoid the police by playing a nice game of Pac-Man.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Absolutely.
What? Like you're just going to play pinball to get through the fact that you just murdered somebody?
Absolutely they are.
I literally can't.
That's so messed
I
up.
quite literally cannot.
Oy.
But she was able to convince themselves and they turned themselves in.
Oy.
So, news of the arrests broke a day later, but because everybody arrested at that point was a juvenile, there weren't a lot of details available. And as far as the public was concerned, it seemed like Gregg's murder had been solved. They were like, oh, okay, they got the people that did it.
Yeah,
Great.
they were like, oh, hey.
Fantastic. Now, investigators in Derry, on the other hand, were convinced that there was still a lot more to this story than they were being told. And literally all of them were like, yeah, Pam has something to do with it. This random band of teenagers didn't just come up with this plan by themselves.
That's the thing. It's like you really think they just came up with this and did it.
And like, what would the motive be?
Well, exactly. That's the thing.
So the day after the arrests were made, Pam called Loring Jackson. She can't stay away.
My God, she's like asking to be caught.
Oh my God, at this point, literally.
Begging.
Yes. So she calls him and she's like, can I just please have any kind of update? She said, I'm afraid I know these kids. And then she said, am I in any danger? And Jackson was like, no, Pam, you're not in danger.
She's reaching out to ask if she is in danger when she knows she set them up to kill her. Like, that is like whole other level.
I don't know what she has as far as like personality disorders go, but there's a couple in there. I won't armchair diagnose, but
yeah,
the manipulative, conniving, gaslighting
there's a lot
going
on there.
It's a layered.
There's some stuff.
It's a layered situation, but this is great. I fucking love this. So she's like, am I in any danger? And he's like, no, Pam, you're not. And she goes, how can you be so sure? And he goes, because I know. And so do you.
Oh,
click.
Shit.
It's heating up in here, baby.
Mic drop moment.
So while the state attorney general's office worked to get approval to try all the teens as adults, that's what they were working on, the media made their way to Seabrook. They were shoving microphones and cameras in faces of anybody even remotely involved. And then Pam was doing her absolute best to just play the devastated widow, betrayed by these students she had hoped to help in Project Self-Esteem.
Wow.
And she knew that the arrest of the 4 boys definitely put her at risk. Like, she was starting to get nervous here. But what she didn't realize was that her good old buddy, Cecilia Pierce, would actually be the biggest risk. Because remember, police still aren't done with her.
No.
So, in the week or so since her last interview with the police, everything around Cecilia had changed. Her friends had been arrested for murder. Pam seemed more anxious than ever to keep Cecilia close by. And worse than that, the Derry police definitely knew that Cecilia knew something she wasn't saying.
Damn.
She later told reporters, every night when I was in bed, I'd get up like every 5 minutes when I heard a car pull in, seeing if it was the police coming to get me.
Oh, man.
Which I'm like, honestly good, because
Yeah.
you knew a lot and you didn't say shit.
None of them were ready for this.
Nope.
None of them.
So the position, she's starting to feel like this is impossible. And she was like, I know that everything about this situation was wrong and I've been manipulated by Pam.
Yeah.
And she was like, Pam, in the past, she was like, oh my gosh, Pam has been nothing but good to me. And now I'm faced with this decision to betray her.
Yeah.
So she's sick over it. But then at the same time, the angel on the side is like, you need to do the right thing.
You need to betray Pam.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So Cecilia's unwavering loyalty to Pam obviously was a part of Pam's plan all along. That's why she spent so much time building trust between her and these kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's obviously why she was testing that loyalty in small ways leading up to the murder, like we saw. But in the time since the arrests, Cecilia had noticed a very large change in Pam's behavior, and she was starting to question everything she thought about their relationship. In a later interview with Hard Copy, she told them, Cecilia did, her lover was in jail and she didn't care. How was I supposed to believe that she was actually my friend? I could hang myself knowing what I know, and she'd be relieved because that's one less person who could tell.
Wow.
So she started to realize who Pam was.
Yeah.
And then to make matters worse, everyone had been treating Cecilia so nicely since the arrest, thinking that she was a victim of this fallout.
yeah.
And she's like, fuck, I know everything.
Yeah.
So between the kindness of her family and friends and Pam's increasing coldness towards Billy, Cecilia finally broke down and went to her mom and just spilled the beans. So obviously that got passed along to the detectives. And the detectives in Derry, they were like, great, this story confirms what we know.
Yeah.
Billy and Pete did the actual killing, but it was Pam behind the murder of her husband.
Yeah.
But the problem was now, how the fuck were they going to prove that? She wasn't there. And there's no text messages or anything like that. So they're considering their options. But ultimately, they decided that the best way to secure a conviction would be for Cecilia to get Pam on tape confessing to her role in the murder. And Cecilia and her mother agreed to the plan.
Damn.
Because remember, her mother needs to sign off on this because she's
they
a
are
juvenile.
children.
So, Cecilia's first attempt came on June 19th when the police attached a recording device to the family's telephone. They were hoping they could record a conversation, like a phone conversation between Cecilia and Pam. So Cecilia was giving it her all. She wanted to win here. But Pam was very guarded and she was denying any romantic relationship between her and Billy. Because I think she was like, they could bug our phones.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
She was a little ahead.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she was also dodging Cecilia's references to Gregg's murder. So in the end, the call was a bust.
Yeah.
But in the weeks and months after the arrest, Pam, she was playing it cool in public. She was like, oh, I don't even think these boys had anything to do with Gregg's death. Like, just playing it up, hamming it up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she obviously must have known she was a suspect. Rumors were starting to spread about Billy having an affair with her. In the back of her mind, I think she knew her plan was shit all along.
Yep.
Also, like, why would you be dumb enough to have teenagers do this for you?
Truly.
It's only a matter of time before somebody slips up and says something. And here we go. On July 12th, 1990, Cecilia Pierce took a second run at Pam in an attempt to get this confession. And this time, she was wired with a microphone and a recording device for what the New Hampshire Attorney General's office referred to as face-to-face one-party intercept.
Ooh, damn.
I love it.
That sounds intense.
It is. So that afternoon, Cecilia went to Pam's office, and she literally had a tape recorder running, like somewhere in her. And Pam immediately... somewhere in her pockets
She
or something.
swallowed it.
I don't know. But so Pam rushes over to give her a hug, which she must have been sharding herself.
Yeah.
Absolutely pooping her pants.
Truly.
And as she's hugging her, Pam's hands come dangerously close to brushing the microphone wires. Like, she
my God.
was very, very close to being caught.
I'd be like, no touchy.
No touchy. But the conversation ended up being like rambling. There was a lot of weird chatting. And she kind of alluded to some involvement in the murder, but she didn't outright confess to anything.
Okay.
So a second meeting got set up for the next day, and Cecilia got reset up with a recording device. And this time, they got what they needed.
Oh, shit.
So the second recorded conversation with Pam was much more direct. There were way more details about the case, and now there was the potential for even more arrests because more names were dropped. Throughout the discussion, Pam went out of her way multiple times to insist that Cecilia would be arrested as an accessory if she went to the police.
Oh.
She was like, just so you know, like, you'll be in too, so, like, don't fuck me over.
Oh, shit.
But Cecilia has already talked to the police, and she knows that this is not true, so she kept going.
Getting scared is one thing. Getting a thrill is, well, you want more of those in your life. The Genesis GV70 is built to thrill, baby. A thrilling yet elegant design always makes driving the GV70 an exciting adventure. Its powerful athletic stance screams performance and turns heads. Everybody's looking at you, girl, or boy, or whoever. Command the road and experience a class-leading standard 300 horsepower. Oh my God. Plus, discover the different dynamic drive modes for all different terrains. Choose between the different terrain modes for whatever road conditions you may encounter. The Genesis GV70's award-winning technology and performance lets you drive with comfort and drive with confidence all at the same time. It's an exciting SUV with intuitive tech that can make your ride smooth even when the road isn't. And its blind spot cameras allow you to see what's next to you. It's like having eyes on the side of your head. That's pretty iconic. Its performance, by the way, is measured not only in power, but in how it makes you feel confident, sexy. The Genesis GV70. Learn more at genesis.com and feel the GV70. The best summer pieces are the ones you end up wearing on repeat. Comfortable, versatile, and somehow right for almost every occasion. Quince makes it easy to create a summer wardrobe that you'll love, with elevated essentials made from premium materials like European linen, organic cotton, and washable silk, without the traditional retail markup. I love that! Quince's 100% European linen pants, dresses, and tops are the pieces that you absolutely will reach for all summer long. I absolutely love their linen. I have so many pairs of their linen pants, which you can dress up or you can dress down in the summer. Like, say you're going to a nice dinner, you can pair it with like a silk shirt, a really cute necklace, some good, makeup and an updo. Or if you're just looking for a more casual look, you can do the linen pants with like a loose button-up shirt and you still look really chic, kind of like, I don't know, Diane Keaton vibes, I kind of think. Also, it's not just apparel. Quince also offers elevated essentials for your home, from bedding and bath to kitchen essentials and furniture. They have it all, honey. I am a big lover of Quince, and I really do think you will be too. Make your summer wardrobe feel easier. Go to quince.com/morbid for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/morbid for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/morbid.
Now, so finally, after what seemed like hours, investigators got what they needed, and this is the little bit of it. Cecilia says, so he's not going to say that you offered to pay him, right? He's going to say he knew about it before it happened, which is the truth. And Pam says, right. Well, so then I'll have to say, no, I didn't. And then they're either going to believe me or they're going to believe JR, 16 years old and in the slammer. And then who? Me, with a professional reputation and a course that I teach? That's the thing. Cecilia says, right. And Pam goes, they're gonna believe me.
Wow, the confidence.
Boom, baby.
Wow, the dumb confidence.
It would turn out that Pam was wrong.
I was gonna say,
they didn't believe her.
Incorrect key.
On August 1st, less than 2 weeks after that recorded conversation with Cecilia, Pam was approached by Detective Danielle, I believe it's Pelletier, in her office in the building inside of the high school.
Shit.
And she'd actually already spoken with Pelletier a few times. So as soon as she saw him, she jumped up and was like excited to see him. And he got very theatrical with it. I can't even say I blame him. He said, well, Pam, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is that we've solved the murder of your husband.
Oh my God, I love it.
The bad news is that you're under arrest.
Oh, he really went for it.
Dave and I were talking about it, and he was like, how many times do you think he practiced that?
Oh, 100%. And I can't blame him.
No, absolutely. I would be on the car ride there, like talking to myself in the rearview mirror.
I would be saying it over and over again. Let's go.
Got arrested at the high school.
Wow.
We love to see
Poetic.
it. Poetic justice. So Pam was stunned, but obviously she had to follow detective's orders as she was handcuffed and let out of the building.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have a choice at that point.
And there were several other detectives from Derry and Hampton out there waiting in their cars. So this was like a sting operation.
Oh, shit.
And a journalist from Nashua who had shown up at the school after getting an anonymous tip, he actually snapped several photos of Pam being loaded into the back of the cruiser.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm going to look it up.
Look it up. So the next day, August 2nd, Pam was arraigned in Derry District Court for what the prosecutor claimed was promoting or facilitating the murder of her husband. Now, in an affidavit filed with the county, the Attorney General's office said that Pam, quote, aided William Flynn in the planning or commission of the murder. And the affidavit makes it clear that it was Billy, not Pam, who fired the fatal shot.
Okay.
So the news came as a shock to almost everyone outside of the investigation, especially Gregg's parents, who had to show up to this arraignment. Ooh. Now, in a statement given to the press outside the courthouse, Bill Smart, Gregg's father, told the reporters, "She has taken a loved one from us, and all I can say is if indeed she is guilty, that they teach her a lesson and give her the maximum sentence that the God and Lord above us would give her."
There you go.
Boom.
That says it all, I think.
I think so. So a week later, there was a bail hearing, and Pam pleaded with the judge to please allow her to be released on bail.
Girl.
She said, "I have been incarcerated 12 days for a crime I did not commit. I'm only 22 years old and I'm a widow. I have gone through an immeasurable amount of pain and suffering already, and I would ask you, if this court is worried about me fleeing, I assure you I'm going nowhere. I want to be in the courtroom to prove that I am innocent of these charges."
Yeah, we totally believe you.
Like, girl, I hope that you take up acting in prison.
You're bad at it, though.
You're pretty bad at it. So her defense lawyers argued that the arrest and the entire case against her was based on innuendo, hearsay, double hearsay, contradictions, and statements made by an unidentified 16-year-old intern who was browbeaten into saying the state's evidence was true. That's a quote.
Wow.
The prosecution, though, was led by Assistant Attorney General Cynthia White, and she disagreed.
She's like, nah.
She argued that Pam could be heard on the recording making several allusions to her relationship with Billy and her role in the affair and, quote, encouraging the teenager to lie to the police about her knowledge of the murder.
Yeah, you know that whole thing.
Yep. So the County Superior Court Judge, Douglas Gray, luckily sided with the prosecution and ordered that Pam be held without bail until the trial.
Okay.
And in his decision, Gray wrote, "The words of the defendant on tape serve to bolster the state's position in two ways. First, the statements are incriminating in nature, and secondly, they lend credence to the friend's prior statement to police."
Yeah.
So basically, he's like, she admitted it, and it makes sense.
And it lines right up with what we thought happened.
Yup. So, of course, the press covering the case were chomping at the motherfucking bit. They overlooked some of the more important details of the case, like the fact that Pam wasn't a teacher.
Yeah, that whole
but
thing.
It didn't matter. The nation was captivated. It was the first time that anybody had really heard of a case with details as shocking as these ones.
Yeah.
So people were like following super closely for every last update. And actually, fun fact here, it was the first criminal trial in America to be televised from beginning to end.
Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? On Monday, January 28th, 1991, Billy pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and Pete and JR pleaded guilty to a charge of being accomplices to second-degree murder in exchange for their testifying against Pam at her trial.
Damn.
Which was supposed to start in early March. The pleas were another blow for Pam's defense lawyers. Their attempts to suppress the recorded conversation had been denied, and they were trying to contain the damage by the press, which that was going to be hard to do, and by Cecilia, who already had agreed to interviews with everybody from Hampton Union to ABC News.
Oh, shit.
But still, her lawyers, Pam's lawyers, tried to stay confident in front of the cameras. They told reporters the claims from Cecilia and the boys were garbage, and they were confidently boasting, quote, "They're just more people to cross-examine. We'll be ready to try the case."
Oh, whatever.
And then they said the thing that you should never say if you're going to lose a case. We're looking forward to it.
Oh, that's not good.
I just feel like that's never good.
No.
So Pam kept maintaining that she was entirely innocent of any charges. But in the 7 months since her arrest, the media coverage had allowed the public and probably any jury member anywhere near here to form an opinion on their own. People were pretty sure she was guilty, And that was pretty much confirmed for them when a month before the trial started, Pam was indicted for attempting to solicit another inmate at the New Hampshire State Prison for Women to kill Cecilia Pierce before she could testify.
Oh my God.
Because, that wouldn't look suspicious or anything.
Wow.
Mama!
She's reckless.
Reckless.
Like, she is so reckless.
Reckless.
What a monstrous human being.
Literally indicted in the middle of a murder trial for soliciting another fucking murder.
She is a monstrous human being.
She's a cuckoo nut man.
Truly.
So her trial started on March 4th, 1991 in Exeter, New Hampshire. The state's case was led by Assistant Attorney General Diane Nicolosi, I believe is how you say it, and Pam continued to be represented by Mark Sisti and Paul Toomey. Now, from the moment the trial began, the courtroom was, like I said, packed with reporters from print and television media. And even though there had been multiple criminal trials in the past, like I said, this one was the first criminal trial to unfold on television in real time, beginning to end. And the start of this trial actually coincided with the debut of Court TV.
Oh, shit.
This was like the first thing that happened on Court TV.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy? So, in her opening statement to the jury, Nicolosi laid out the facts. On the evening of May 1st, 1990, Billy Flynn, acting under the direction of his lover, Pam Smart, drove to Derry, where he and Pete Randall murdered Gregg Smart and tried to make it look like it was a robbery. And the attorney there explained to the court that Billy's motivation was Pam and his worry that if he didn't go through with the murder, she was going to leave him. And then went on to explain that Pete Randall and the other boys in the getaway car, they were motivated by money.
Okay.
Now, finally, even though she wasn't in the room when the murder happened, Nicolosi made it clear that the only reason Gregg Smart was murdered by Billy and Pete was because Pam had lied, manipulated, and orchestrated the entire thing.
Of course.
She was like, Pam did this willingly, intentionally, and even when she was presented with multiple opportunities to call this off, she kept going.
Doubled down.
She said she was determined to be free of Gregg, and she wanted the money from his life insurance policy, which was very easy to prove with what she did with it. Now, the defense attorney, Mark Sisti, I believe is how you say it, said, it should be obvious we don't agree on much, or on the evidence they claim they're going to place before you. Like, yes, we know that. That's why you're the defense attorney.
That's kind of how court works.
Thank you for telling us.
Thank you so much for that.
The obvious.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Now, he didn't really dispute the fact that Pam was guilty, and also really didn't try to prove her innocence with his own information. Instead, he was just trying to undermine the prosecution's case, like make them doubt that.
Yeah.
He paid specific attention to the fact that the most damning testimony was going to come from the killer themselves, or the killers. And he said that they were only testifying as part of a plea agreement for a lesser sentence, which would put doubt in the jury's mind, of course.
Of course.
And then he went on to tell them that what the prosecution planned to present was going to be, quote, one of the most vile concoctions ever assembled in one courtroom in the state of New Hampshire.
Wow, that's intense.
They always get so theatrical.
I was going to say that's like very exaggerated.
Yeah. And then finally he ended by saying that Gregg's murder was the sole responsibility of three, and this is a quote, three cold-blooded thrill killers fueled by sex, obsession, jealousy, and mental illness.
Wow, okay.
I was like, yeah, I think you're talking about your client, brother.
Yeah, I think so.
So the next day, the state called Patrick Pete Randall as its first witness. His description of the events on the night of Gregg's murder were so matter-of-fact and so brutal that Judge Gray actually had to stop the testimony at one point so that Gregg's mother could be helped out of the courtroom.
Oh, God, that's awful.
He explained, quote, I was supposed to cut his throat, but I couldn't do that because of the things he said. I just couldn't do it after that.
Wow.
Yup. Now, JR, last time there, the second witness to be called by the state, confirmed the details given in the prosecution's opening statements and in Pete's testimony, but he went on to add even more details about Pam and her relationship with Billy. He told the jury, quote, she just kept asking how she should act when she discovered Gregg's body. She didn't know whether to scream, run from the house, or call the police.
What?
We just told her to act normally.
I can't believe that she was like, how do you act when someone that you're supposed to love is found murdered in your home?
Hey, 16-year-old
How
friends,
should you act?
what should I do?
Yeah. Like, you can't even muster that up. Like, you did marry this man. You did, like, love him.
You wanted to have children with him.
Like,
Well, she didn't. He wanted kids with her.
You can't just, like, muster up some kind of, like, well, what would happen if you loved someone and they got murdered?
Right.
Like, really? You can't... Wow.
What?
She couldn't conjure that one.
And you're a 22-year-old woman asking a couple of 16-year-old boys how you should act?
Of course.
In what world?
Oy.
So it was clear, obviously, that the prosecution was attempting to portray or just like showing that Pam was a narcissistic mastermind.
Yeah.
And the defense was trying to do the same, but they were trying to point it as the three boys were the mastermind and crazy people.
Of course.
Now, Sisti pointed to the arrest reports, which included the boys laughing and singing on the way back to Seabrook after the murder. So he's like, look at how callous they are.
Look how fucked up they were.
But the press noted that neither the witnesses nor the accused, quote, ever displayed sadness or remorse for the killing. So he's trying to sit there and pin the blame on one of them, but the media is like, yeah, none of them seem that upset.
It doesn't seem like it to me.
Now, 10 days into Pam's trial, Billy Flynn was finally called to testify for the prosecution. His testimony basically said the same thing that Pete and JR had already said, but he was the one with all the sensational details about his romance with Pam.
Of course.
And her reaction in the days before and after the murder. He told the jury that Pam would later tell him about finding Gregg's body. He said, she told me she couldn't get herself to cry.
Wow.
Like, you have been, like, dating and married to this man for years, and you can't muster up anything?
That's cold-blooded.
He also told the prosecution that his testimony betrayed a promise that he had made to Pam a month before his arrest.
My guy.
He said, I told her I'd never tell on her because I loved her.
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow.
Now, before his questioning was over, Assistant Attorney General Paul Maggiato asked Billy, why did you say God forgive me before shooting Gregg? And Billy answered, because I didn't want to kill Gregg. I wanted to be with Pam, and that's what I had to do to be with Pam.
Oh my God, that's so fucked up.
It's so fucked. I actually have goosebumps
saying
like
that. Truly, like, that's fucked up.
It's
like,
also...
for him to say, I didn't want to do that, but I did it for her. And it's like, oh, like the amount of lives that she just straight up shattered in every way. She turned a kid into a killer that wasn't a killer.
Literally. Crazy.
Like, that's fucked up.
Absolutely insane. And I didn't want to kill Gregg. I just wanted to be with Pam.
Yeah.
That tells you
everything.
Everything. Like, him saying those few sets of words says a million words.
Wow.
So the defense on cross-examination tried to make it seem like Billy had an unreciprocated obsession with Pam.
Nah.
And he misunderstood and agreed with them and said, she was the first girl I ever loved and I didn't want her to leave me.
Oh my God.
So it's just so sad.
It's sad all around.
So the most damning evidence came in the last days of the trial when jurors finally heard the recorded conversation between Cecilia and Pam, which then was followed by testimony from Cecilia. On recording, you can hear Pam tell Cecilia, I'm afraid one day you're going to come in here and you're going to be wired by the fucking police and I'm going to be busted.
I would shit my pants if I was Cecilia.
Would have sharted the biggest shart.
Yeah.
Oh my God. As she's sitting there.
Yeah, like, wired.
Oh, Pam, you silly goose.
Oof. So, you don't know how close you were.
Oh my God. Now, across the two tapes allowed into evidence, Pam can also be heard repeatedly admitting to the affair, manipulating Cecilia into remaining silent, and strongly alluding to the fact that she was the one behind the murder. So on March 22nd, 1991 now, after 13 hours of deliberation, the jury found Pam Smart guilty of being an accomplice to first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with a witness. In the end, multiple jurors would tell the press more than anything else, it was the tapes that convinced them of her guilt. One juror told the Boston Globe, it was a very, very difficult decision for us. I didn't want it to turn out this way, but the evidence, the tapes, and the testimony proved in our minds that she was guilty.
Yeah, of course.
And other jurors were convinced because of Pam's demeanor and her attitude on the stand, and just how she acted in the courtroom in general. According to another juror, everyone commented that Pamela Smart looked like a statue. Her coldness was very striking.
Ooh.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Now, even when she was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, She sat there motionless with absolutely no expression on her face.
Yeah, something wrong with that one.
Something real wrong with that one. Gregg's parents, on the other hand, were sobbing with relief.
Ugh.
Judy Smart told reporters, "It feels great. She got what she deserved. The first thing we're going to do is go to Gregg's grave as a family and tell him what happened so he can rest in peace."
Oh, that hurts my heart.
It's so sad. Now, friends of the family and all of the boys involved were also pleased with the verdict. Karen Knight, who was actually a friend of the Flynn family, told reporters she not only took Gregg's life, she also took Billy's future, and that's not something he can ever get back. No sentence the court could put on her is high enough for the injustice that she's caused.
Yeah, it's so true.
It really is. Now, just after sentencing, Pam was immediately sent to the New Hampshire State Prison for Women to begin serving her sentence. And in early 1993, she and her attorneys, of course, appealed the verdict to the state Supreme Court. Basically, they argued that the publicity surrounding the case fucked the whole thing up and that Pam never had a chance to receive a fair trial.
It's like, girl, she was on tape.
Exactly. But they were like, and thus her constitutional rights have been violated. So the court recognized the media coverage before and during the trial. They were like, yeah, it was unprecedented in state history, but we disagree with you. They said both the 16th Amendment of the United States Constitution and Part 1, Article 15 of New Hampshire Constitution guarantee the right of a defendant to a trial by a fair and impartial jury. This, however, does not require that the jurors be totally ignorant of the facts and issues involved.
Yep.
In these days of swift, widespread, and diverse methods of communication, an important case can be expected to arouse the interest of the public in the vicinity, and scarcely any of those best qualified to serve as jurors will not have some informed impression or opinion as to the merits of the case.
Whoa.
Which, I mean, makes sense. Now, the appeal also challenged the recorded conversations, though, between Cecilia and Pam. Pam's attorneys claimed that the police had pressured Cecilia into consenting to the recording, and therefore it should have been excluded from evidence and not presented at the trial.
Wow.
But the court also disagreed with this challenge and wrote back basically saying that Cecilia's mother was present for all of the interviews.
Yeah, no.
She was able to advise Cecilia the whole way through.
Yep.
And Cecilia herself said that the police explained everything to her, and both she and her mother signed all the necessary consent forms.
Yeah,
so that was a bust. And obviously, in the end, the state Supreme Court sided with the prosecution in the appeal, and the lower court's original ruling was upheld.
Nice.
So, in the end, Billy Flynn was sentenced to 40 years in adult prison, with a minimum of 12 years served before he'd be eligible for parole. He ended up serving his sentence at the Maine State Prison in Warren, Maine, and he applied for a sentence reduction in 2007, which was denied. In 2014, he got moved to a minimum security facility, and in March 2015, he did end up getting paroled and was allowed to re-enter the community.
Wow.
Sadly, the Smart family was entirely against this, but the parole board chairwoman at the time, Donna Styrek, I believe is how you say it, commented on Billy's behavior in prison, saying, "I've not seen such remarkable accomplishments. That's not something we ordinarily see." So, at the very least, hopefully, his frontal lobe developed a bit more and he figured out how to make better decisions in life, and hopefully he will be a better person.
Here's to hope.
He pour one out.
In all forms.
Now, Patrick Pete Randall received a similar sentence as Billy, and he also served his sentence at the Maine State Prison. He ended up being granted parole in April of 2015 and was released into the community in June of that year.
Okay.
J.R. Lattime, who pleaded guilty to a lesser crime of being an accomplice to murder, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison to be served again at Maine State Prison. He was paroled in 2005.
Wow.
And in early 2023, he actually petitioned the court to have the rest of his sentence suspended, saying, quote, "He has a wife and a full-time job and is making every effort not to waste his second chance." The court actually has yet to make a decision on that.
Wow.
Now, Ray Fowler, the cousin there, he did eventually plead guilty to conspiracy to commit murder and attempted burglary. He got a combined sentence of 30 years, but he was paroled in 2003 after he served 11 years of that sentence. He ended up, though, being sent back to prison just a year later because he violated the terms of his parole by leaving New Hampshire to go visit his girlfriend in Massachusetts. But he got released on parole again 1 year later, and his parole officially ended in 2013. And according to prison authorities, he, quote, "had no problems behaving in prison, or else we wouldn't have paroled him." So there's that.
Okay.
Cecilia Pierce, she tried to go back to her life in New Hampshire, but because the trial was so public, she had a really hard time.
Ooh.
And she ended up moving not too long after the trial to Jefferson City, Missouri.
Oh.
And then a few years after that, she actually moved back to Seabrook and finally settled in Albany, where she actually works now as a registered nurse.
Wow.
She was among the most high-profile witnesses in the case, and she actually ended up getting a lot of negative attention because of all the interviews that she did with the press, and because she ended up selling her story to a production company.
Oh, shit.
In 2016, she told reporters, "People think I got $120,000, but she said the truth was that she got $10,000."
Oh.
Which I was like,
right.
yeah, $10,000 for being a spineless jellyfish,
Yeah,
but
it's
okay.
like, okay, though.
Now, Pam, since she's been incarcerated, she talks to the press as often as she possibly can.
Of course she does.
She still maintains her innocence, and she still petitions for her release.
No one believes you.
No. In 2016, she told reporters, I would like people to think of me as a human being. I am not the caricature that people think, some evil person."
No.
Request denied.
Yeah, that's absolutely not.
Now, as of 2023, she is currently serving her sentence in a New York prison, and she has exhausted all of her appeals.
Aww.
And as of February 2023, she and her lawyers are still trying to petition the state Supreme Court to hear her appeal for a sentence reduction, but they don't seem very interested.
It's a no from them.
Yeah, it's a no from them. When they officially denied the request, they cited Pam's ongoing refusal to accept responsibility.
Yeah.
And that was her last hope for a sentence reduction. Cue up the tiniest violin in the world. Now, she emailed her supporters, which, if you're one of them, get absolutely wrecked.
Seriously.
Saying that the decision was, quote unquote, political? ?
How so?
The question mark is me.
Yeah.
She said, "The death penalty would have been more merciful than this. Nothing will ever be enough for New Hampshire to say I'm a human being deserving of anything more than being locked up in a cage like an animal for the rest of my entire life. You orchestrated the murder of a man.
Yeah.
Go away.
And you had a sexual relationship with a minor as an adult.
Yeah, you're a pedophile, so like..."
So there, you did some stuff.
Yeah, it's not political, girlfriend.
No.
It's just yuccas.
Yep.
Now, when Billy was released, Gregg's older brother, Rick, told the Boston Herald, "I think he did his time. He was at a young age, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been punished, but I want to put this behind me, and I'm sure he wants to put it behind him."
Wow.
He went on to say that Pam should never be released.
100%.
Unfortunately, Gregg's mom, Judy, passed away less than 10 years after Gregg was killed. Her son's murder absolutely destroyed her. And Gregg's father, too, he passed away in 2010. But his brother Rick told the Herald he felt as though his father would agree with him that Billy did his time. And he ended the interview saying, "Maybe someday I would like to speak to him," meaning Billy, "just so I could find out how exactly what happened from someone who was there. I kind of want to know, but at the same time, I just want to move on. He took our brother and my parents' son at a young age. I would hope that by now he would realize what he did, and I think he probably does. He's had a lot of time to think about it. Whether he'd be honest with me about that, I don't know. It wouldn't change my opinion about him getting out, but if I was him, I wouldn't try and squander it."
Wow.
Like, what
that
a
is
tough
a
dude.
decent human being right there.
It really is.
Like, wow.
It just goes to show you don't know how you would feel
No.
until something like this, God
No.
forbid, happens to you.
Yeah.
Like, but mad respect to Rick.
But for real, a lot of respect to Rick.
So much respect. And then obviously
Damn.
this has been made into like countless movies.
Of course it has.
I think Nicole Kidman played Pam at one point,
Oh,
which was a
really?
very generous compliment.
Yeah, it was.
Helen Hunt also played her in another movie. Again, a very generous compliment.
Yeah.
I think we should just next time hire a dumpster and put a blonde wig on it and
Yeah,
see what
it's like-
happens.
Or, like this, don't make another one.
Or don't make another
Yeah,
one. There's
don't
always
make
that.
another one.
That's a good plan.
We've had enough.
So yeah, that is the
Damn.
wild freaking case that is
That's
Pam
awful.
Smart and the murder of Gregg Smart.
What a sad story.
It really is,
It
through
really
and through,
is.
because they're two people that should never have gotten married.
No,
And
never.
it's so sad that they didn't just like get to divorce like a normal couple.
That's the thing.
Because they
It's like,
absolutely, I think Gregg was starting to go in that direction.
there's
and it's
so
sad.
many like times where either they should have just divorced and that should have been it, or in that moment when all those kids realized that they didn't want to do this. I
Yup.
wish they had just not done it.
I
They
agree.
just stood up for what something inside of them was saying and just listened to it.
Right. Had a fucking...
Drives me crazy.
Had a spine. I wish anybody in this story had a spine. Would have been great.
Truly. That would have been awesome.
Would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
But as always, guys, we hope you keep listening.
And we hope you
Keep
it
weird. But not so weird that you're a spineless jellyfish who decides to murder somebody because you want to be with a lady that is kind of a pedophile.
Don't be
do
a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't do it.
Love you.
Paragold has Luxury Home's largest selection of outdoor furniture, lighting, decor, and more. Discover pieces in every style from more than 2,000 of design's best brands. Shop in-store or online at Paragold.com. Paragold, luxury lives here.
Struggling with bloat or indigestion? You're not alone. 2 out of 3 Americans suffer from poor gut health. I'm Tina Anderson, co-founder of Just Thrive Probiotic. As a mom of 3, when no probiotic solved my family's tummy troubles, I created my own. Just Thrive Probiotic is the only probiotic that arrives 100% alive in your gut, supporting 5-star digestion, immunity, and better sleep. We even have a formula for pets. Use code SIRIUS for 20% off at justthrivehealth.com/serious.